Hello again, welcome back. I have YouTube chat up, so I should be able to converse that way for anybody watching at home. We are back at it. We're gonna do a mobility class, follow along, so some active and dynamic stretching, and we're specifically gonna focus on shoulders today and zero equipment, or at least very quick and easy things that you might be able to find around the house. So again, I'm Nicole from Rochester Parkour.
My name's Charlie.
Woohoo! We're gonna get started. I know I have one human watching in chat right now, so that's exciting.
Very cool. All right, so we're gonna find some open space. If you're doing this with a loved one that's right next to you, you'll want to eventually make sure you've got some space that you can extend your arms out to the side. So I'm gonna move a little bit more this way. And then you also wanna make sure that if you have, let's say, a jungle gym in your house, you're not going to extend your arms out and hit said object or a said loved one or anything else. So we're gonna get our feet set straight forward and back, hip width apart. We're gonna stand up nice and tall. Let's go ahead and just take a nice, good, deep breath in. And exhale. Very nice. We're gonna start, as we do with all of our mobility classes, with something we call the joint roll down. We're gonna start with just our head. We're gonna do some head circles around, and we're just thinking about isolating our head and our neck as we do this, just figuring out where our mobility happens to be right now. For those of you that are just coming through from our add-on movement circuit, you are probably pretty warmed up right now. For those of you that are just joining us for mobility, go ahead and switch sides. For those of you that are just joining us for mobility, you might be a little cold right now, and that's okay. This is going to be part of our little warm-up, and it's going to help us test and see where our mobility is right now. And our head goes back to neutral, keeping our body nice and static and still. We're going to take our gaze, we're going to look over our right shoulder and then over our left shoulder.
I'm standing in a weird angle so that you can see a different angle.
She just needs to be special.
I'm just focused, so on Charlie. That's it.
And our head's gonna go back to neutral, and we're gonna think about tilting one ear to that same shoulder, and at the same time, we're gonna keep that relaxed to the opposite shoulder there. And then we're gonna switch sides. We're just gonna do this nice and slow as we travel on through, really thinking about isolating that head and that neck. Very good. And then we take that head, we go back to neutral, and this one gets a little funky. We're gonna think about tucking that chin in, and we're gonna curl everything down towards the floor, and then think about elevating that up to the ceiling. When we think about lifting through our chin, we wanna lift and elevate. Don't just crank that neck back. Lift. We curl it back down. We look down towards the floor, and then we elevate again, back up to the ceiling, and then down to the floor. Keep on going. Next time your chin is down, we're gonna go ahead and keep it down, and we're gonna think about tucking that chin in, and then we look right, and then we look left, and we think about tucking that chin in the entire time. We're still upright, nice and tall through the rest of our body. We're just moving through that head and our neck. And our head can go back to neutral. Very nice. We're gonna think about isolating our shoulder blades this time. Your rib cage stays still, but your arms, which are relaxed, are going to move only through those shoulders. They can go down, they can go forward, they can go up and back, all these different ranges of motion. Really thinking about moving them around, getting them to the end of their range of motion. And let's switch direction. For those of you that are following along, feel free, if you've got questions on anything that we're doing or there's anything that you want to add, you can interact with us through chat. We are monitoring chat as we go through. By all means, feel free to ask questions. This is a live class, This is something where you have access to us right now, and you can feel free to ask away. We're going to take a look around us real quick because we're going to continue through with these shoulder circles, but we're going to extend our arms this time. We're going to really think about moving all the way through that range of motion with our arms outstretched. You want to think about keeping that rib cage down as you do this. We're not taking it along for the ride. We really think about activating just a little bit through that core to make sure that our mobility stays true with this. We're not assisting with some rib cage motion here.
Make it to where people in Discord.
People in Discord can hear us if they so choose. We do have some participants that stuck around. Let's switch direction. We do have some participants that stuck around from our movement add-on. If they want to participate, they can at any point in time. Feel free to participate, but it's not required.
No, yeah.
It's not required. If they have something useful to say, or if they want to interact with us with their voice, they can totally do so at their own discretion.
Woohoo!
I totally said switch sides out, or switch directions out loud, right?
I think so.
Okay, fantastic.
I switched.
We're gonna make a shelf for an elbow. We're gonna externally rotate that arm as much as we possibly can. We're gonna pull it back in towards us. It drops down through the hole, and then we internally rotate as much as possible. External rotation, internal rotation.
Try and keep that shoulder down.
And then we'll go ahead and switch sides.
That was dark.
You know what, Nicole? Can you actually move the camera and pan it up just a little bit? Tilt it up, I guess I should say.
Apologies ahead of time, humans. It might get a little crazy as I do.
Cray. And then as everything is about to move itself around, as Nicole plays around with the camera a little bit, we're gonna take our hands, we're gonna place them on our hips, and to the best of our ability, we're gonna do rib circles. We're gonna try to isolate all the muscles, those teeny tiny muscles that move all of that rib cage around. We're gonna think about hula hooping a rib cage. That looks so much better.
Welcome.
I feel so less cramped up here.
I'm gonna say this now, there's no card in the camera.
Oh, that's fine. Switch direction.
I had a panic attack.
Because we're live. We're not
good.
recording through the camera.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Minor panic attack.
There's no card in the camera. What are we gonna do?
So doing good on battery.
Yes, we are.
Woohoo! Okay, I'm back in it. I'm back focused. Tall body.
She's focused.
Rib circles are awesome. It feels so good in my thoracic.
All right, we're gonna go back to neutral. We're gonna think about a point at the base of that rib cage in that spine, the middle of your spine. And you're gonna think about drawing a circle around your hips with your shoulders. Your hips are going to stay still. The rest of your torso is going to move and revolve around those hips, drawing that nice big circle.
Probably gets questionable when I ragdoll, but it feels good to ragdoll, so I do it.
Switch direction. Anybody in chat or Discord could let us know how the audio levels are on this. That would be very helpful, just so that we can confirm that everything is coming through as intended. We're gonna go back to neutral. We want some hip circles. Nice big hip circles. I like to have a nice little bend in my knees. As your hips go forward, you really want to think about tucking that tailbone. Your hips go out to the side, separate out through that side. Stick that butt back behind you. We go nice big circles around.
For my family watching at home, this reminds me of Blender Man.
Blender Man. Switch direction! What is that reference
Audio
to?
is fantastic. You're
Yay!
doing
What?
Is that Colin? No. Somebody just said audio is fantastic.
Oh, my earbud must have disconnected.
Uh-oh. It sounded like Colin.
Oh, very cool.
They can confirm, but I don't know. Regardless, Blender Man is something my brother used to do. And he would do rib circles and hip circles in opposites.
No way.
And I can't.
No way.
I don't think yeah.
What?
He would do that. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Oh, that's so weird.
That's everybody's homework. Blenderman.
Blenderman. As we transition, we're gonna think about standing on one leg. We're gonna get some stability work in today. We're gonna lift up that knee on the opposite leg. It travels out to the outside, down and around. We wanna keep those hips nice and still as this happens. We're just moving through that leg. I did see some chat coming through, Nicole, if you want to just double check and make sure that all of our audio levels are coming through, okay? That would be wonderful.
Audio levels are good, says Kelsey. Sharon says it's fairly loud. You don't have to speak so loud for me. That's amazing, Sharon, because we would have issues with it being too quiet, so I'll take too loud. So we'll maybe tone down instructor voice. I don't know if that's possible for us. And let us know if it gets too quiet. Y'all are great, thanks.
Very nice.
We did switch directions now?
We did switch directions. Whenever you do live production, it's just, there's always something. There's so many variables. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Once again, we're standing on the opposite leg. That knee comes up nice and high. It travels to the outside, down and around.
I have a whole new appreciation for like the news channel.
Oh, definitely. It's incredible
Now,
the kind of work
they
that they
have
can
quite
do.
a lot of money and equipment.
Well, true.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the fact that like TV is 24/7.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's insane. That's insane.
Good on you,
It just
humans.
blows my mind. Let's go ahead and switch direction.
My left side of my body is telling me more than my right.
It's talking a little bit louder.
Talking a little bit louder.
And we're gonna go ahead and switch sides again. And this time we're gonna pull that first knee up, but not as high as before. We're gonna try to keep that knee centered as we do a nice big circle with that foot. We wanna think about drawing a circle with that heel. The base of your circle should not pass behind your standing leg. You wanna really think about that internal, external rotation of that hip. Slow is better than fast here. And let's go ahead and switch direction.
Always a very good reminder for me. I like to go fast. Slow it down.
Slow it down.
Slow it down.
Slow it down. And while we're here, we'll switch to some ankle circles real fast. And switch direction.
I don't know how to make the text bigger.
Maybe Control or Command plus.
Yeah. Yep, you're smart.
Wow, we can make it so large. And we're gonna go ahead and switch sides as Nicole's doing that. We're gonna stand on the opposite leg. Again, that knee comes up, but not as high as before. We draw that circle with that foot and that heel on the floor. We wanna keep that knee as centered as possible. Slow is better than fast.
Sharon says she can just turn down her volume, no problem. Well, thank you, Sharon.
You have the control.
So glad you get to do mobility with us.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Let's switch direction. And while we're here, we do some ankle circles. Do you think shoes are an essential good or product on Amazon? We saw something recently. Let's go ahead and switch direction while I think about that.
His shoe is talking at us. I don't know if
My
you can
shoe is
see
talking
that.
at us. I'll show them in just a moment. They can see how wonderful my shoes are. I guess I might need some new shoes soon. Let's go ahead and shake that out. And while we do that,
I'm gonna show you his ridiculousness.
yeah. You see that?
They're almost sandals. Whoa, don't I?
Yeah. They are almost sandals. I should just turn them into sandals.
No.
And we can shake those legs out. And now that we're here, we're going to do some drops. We're gonna forward fold just a little bit. We're gonna get our feet set, hip width apart, feet straight forward and back. We're gonna get our knees to straighten, but but our quads are going to be relaxed. Our hips lean backward as our torso leans forward, and we're going to keep our back nice and engaged through this. And all we're doing, we're not reaching for anything. We're going to keep thinking back and saying, are my quads relaxed? Because we're not pulling ourselves for anything. We're not reaching for anything. You're just letting the weight of your upper body hinge your hips as far as they will allow you to go right now. And breathing is cool. Breathing is a nice thing to do in this shape, in this position.
Also a really helpful reminder.
And let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And then we exhale and we let our lower back go. And once again, we're not reaching for anything. We're just letting the weight of our upper body pull us down as low as we happen to go today. You want to relax that head and your neck. You want to relax your shoulders and just take some nice, slow, deep breaths down here. Go ahead and bend your knees. We're gonna tuck our tailbone. We're gonna pull ourselves up nice and slow into a standing position. And while we do this, it's nice to remember to breathe as we go. Very nice. As we get up to the top, we take a nice deep breath in and we can shake our legs out at the top. Whew, and feel nice and good. And as we get ourselves set, we're going to go back in for round 2. Once again, our knees are straight, our quads are relaxed, our hips lean backward as our chest leans forward and our back is flat. And as we do this, we're going to think about keeping that back flat. I want you to take your left knee, I want you to bend it. And then I want you to straighten your right knee. But at the same time, I want you to take your right arm and I want you to outstretch it out in front of you. And I want you to twist while engaging that back. And I want you to think about looking to your right side or underneath your right armpit a little bit.
You get to look right at everybody. Hello.
And we're gonna go back to neutral. And we're gonna bend that right knee this time. We're gonna outstretch that left arm. Again, we're really thinking about sticking that butt out back behind us as we twist and look underneath our left armpit. We've got a nice intense stretch that's going to the left, but again, that quad is not clenched right now. It is nice and relaxed. That right knee is bent. We're just thinking about reaching and using those lower back muscles a little bit as we're here. And then we can go back to neutral. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And then we exhale, and we relax that lower back on down. And then once again, now that we're here, we're gonna bend that left knee again. You're gonna outstretch that right arm just a couple feet in front of that right foot, and you're gonna look to your right.
Woohoo!
Kinda cool.
Hello. This is my favorite.
And we'll come back to neutral. And then we're gonna bend that right knee this time. We're gonna straighten that left without clenching that quad. We're gonna outstretch that left arm just a couple feet in front of that left foot, and you look underneath that left armpit. We're gonna go back to neutral. We'll just hang out here for a moment. Go ahead and bend your knees, tuck your tailbone, pull yourself up into a standing position. Oh, and shake it out. We're gonna do one final round, and this one is gonna be a feel-good round because today we're doing shoulders today. So we just wanna finish Feeling nice and good. Maybe you've been sitting a lot recently. You've been holding yourself a little hard on that lower back. We're just gonna spend some time making it feel nice and good. So that one last time through, we're gonna drop ourselves down. Again, we're not reaching for anything here. We're just seeing wherever we happen to go. Let the weight of your upper body pull you down towards the ground. Make sure you're checking in with those quads. They're not pulling. You're not thinking about reaching down at all. Just let the weight of your upper body get you into that lowest, deepest position, and just practice your acceptance a little bit. Because when we're stretching, we're not in a fight with ourselves. We're just trying to help our muscles feel comfortable in these new shapes, in these new deep ranges of motion. Let them go. And then take a deep breath in. And then exhale. And again, we're just gonna spend some time down here. Just relax. Take some nice, slow, deep breaths. And wonderful. We're gonna bend those knees nice and slow. We're gonna tuck that tailbone. We're gonna curl ourselves up into that standing position. And then, for those of you that are at home, if you have access to anything that is a light weight, it doesn't need to be a lot. It could be something that's just, it could be a book that you might grab that you can hold in a hand. We've got access to dumbbells here, so we might grab something that's like 1 pound. Can do a lot for these next drills that we're gonna go through. They could also just be like, if you've got, I mean, hopefully if you have a 5 pound weight, by all means go for it. It could be,
This is kind of a lot.
it could be kind of a lot for a couple of the movements that we're gonna go through.
Not gonna lie.
But you're gonna find something that is in the realm. Do you want the 2.5er? Do you
I'm
want
gonna
the
start with
one
the
and a quarter?
1
Fantastic.
I'm literally starting with just a 1 1/4 weight to see how it feels. So something that's sitting around that's small, it's easy to grab in your hand. Could be your cell phone, it could be a small book, could be a water bottle.
Yeah, it could be anything, but we're gonna take that, we're gonna hold it with one arm. And what we're gonna think about doing here, we're gonna go through some activations of our shoulder before we really think about rolling them out and then finally finishing with some stretches. But what I want you to think about, I want you to stay nice and still and straight with your upper body. But I want you to stand up nice and tall. You're gonna squeeze your torso just a little bit. You're gonna activate that core. I want you to think about dropping through that right shoulder, but then I want you to keep that shoulder activated as you think about reaching it forward as high as you can possibly go. We're going super slow here. As it starts to travel above us, we might reach a little bit with it and think about carrying it up nice and tall wherever we go. And again, we're not going to take our torso and our trunk along for the ride. We're just going to go wherever it happens to go. I've got my wrist nice and neutral. I'm just going to think about keeping it there for right now. And we're going to drop that arm down. And as it drops down to parallel with the floor, we're going to lock that shoulder back in. And this time, we're going to think about reaching it as far back behind us as we possibly can. We get ourselves here, we want to make sure that arm is straight back behind us. We're not crossing it behind that midline. We're not reaching it out to the side. We're also not rotating with it. Instead, we're just reaching. We're trying to lift that hand as far back, straight behind us as we can possibly get it. And then we travel back down. We reach it down to that side. We get it going out in front of us. And then we hoist it up to the ceiling as high as it goes. And we drop it back down. Reach it back behind you nice and far. And here we go again. Moving it up, locking that shoulder in. We reach that arm nice up and high. And drop it. We're gonna do this one more time. Reach that arm really far back behind you. Squeeze through that tricep. Reach that arm up nice and tall. And here we go, last one. Lift. And drop it down nice and slow. And we'll switch arms. You can shake that arm out. We're gonna switch sides. Here we go, getting it again. Again, whatever you're grabbing, we want that wrist to be nice and neutral. We're grabbing onto that weight, whatever we're using to help our shoulders activate just that extra little bit. We're gonna stand up nice and tall. We lock that shoulder in place and then we reach it out in front of us. As that arm travels past that shoulder, we elevate and lift those shoulder blades a little bit. We get that arm up as tall as possible and then drop it on down. It passes parallel to the floor. We lock that shoulder in again. We want to lift that weight back behind us. Get that weight up nice and tall. And here we go again. Reaching on down. Getting that arm out in front of you. Elbows are straight or as straight as possible. And we lift that arm up as tall as we can possibly get it with those straight elbows. And down. Breathing is nice. Breathing is good.
Always a good reminder.
Reach that arm back behind you. Make sure it's going straight. You're not going along for the ride. You're just lifting. Squeeze that tricep. Get that weight up as tall as you can possibly get it. Here we go again. Getting that weight up nice and tall. Get it up, get it up.
Definitely have less range of motion on my left side right now.
I think I do too. Here we go. One last one, both directions.
Oh, bodies.
We're gonna reach that weight back. Lift it up, lift it up. And the last one. Passing that midline of our body, getting it out in front of us. Reach that weight up super tall. And slowly drop that weight on down. Ooh, you can switch that weight over, shake that arm out. For this next one, you're gonna wanna make sure you've got space to the side of you. You're gonna take that weight and we're gonna supinate that arm. We're gonna externally rotate so that it's down by our side. I'm switching to that first arm that I had before. And then from here, you're gonna think once again about standing up nice and tall. You're gonna make sure you're not twisting or whatnot through that side, through that trunk. And we're gonna think about outstretching that arm as far as we can possibly get it. We're gonna keep that palm facing out in front of us. We're gonna get that arm up nice and tall without thinking about curling that head in towards that arm. We're gonna keep that elbow as straight as we can possibly get it, and then it travels down to the outside. We're gonna really think about reaching it out, 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 out the entire way. We're thinking about standing up nice and tall as we drop that shoulder through, getting as wide of a circle as we possibly can. Here we go for two. Getting it up nice and tall. Reach it up, reach it up. And drop it on down. So good, here we go, one more, going for three. Get it up nice and tall. Think about lifting through that shoulder and drop it down nice and slow. And we'll switch sides. You can shake that arm out. I'm gonna reposition just a little bit because I've got some space to that side. I wanna make sure that I've got some room on the camera. There you go. Oh, I think I'm good.
Good?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
All right, so once again, we've got that shoulder externally rotated, and we're gonna take that arm out to the side of us. We really think about outstretching it as far as we possibly can. We get that arm up nice and tall. We're keeping that elbow nice and straight. Wow, this arm does not go as far as that right side. Oh man. Oh, how interesting. And we drop that on down.
You can't see my arm. It means I'm doing it.
Here we go, we're reaching. Oh, we're really thinking about getting as wide of this half circle as we can possibly get it. We're keeping that elbow nice and straight. And drop. Nice and slow. You're not allowed to be tired.
I'm tired.
That can't happen.
We just did add-on for an hour.
We did do add-on for an hour. It was pretty fun. We'll put it up on the replay soon once it's processed on YouTube. Here we go, one last time.
Yeah,
reaching that arm out.
Well, I rushed. I was a rusher.
Oh.
Don't be like me.
I was delayed because I was talking.
True.
I got distracted. We're gonna reach that arm up nice and tall and drop it on down.
So you'll be able to access the add-on video in a bit, in like an hour.
Very nice. Okay, we're gonna shake that arm out. This time we are gonna get to rotate with this. So we're gonna switch that weight on over. Again, whatever you happen to be using is perfect, it's fine. And then what I want you to think about, we're gonna start off by rotating that arm inward. It's almost gonna be like you want to think about lifting through your pinky. If there was something that you were trying to push out in front of you. And as you do this, you're actually gonna rotate and twist your hips away to your left as you reach that arm out as far as possible. And you're gonna really think about lifting through that pinky up nice and tall. And then as we start to cross back behind us, our hips, that right hip pulls itself back. We twist ourselves to that right side. We're gonna really think about reaching that arm back as far as we can behind us. And we drop that on down. We're opening up, because again, we're leading through that pinky. And as we think about going back towards that midline of our body, we're going to rotate that arm as we twist those hips. We really think about lifting out through that pinky, elbows nice and straight, reaching, drawing a circle as wide as you can, and we're going super slow as well. Really think about getting that arm back behind us. Cross that midline. We rotate that arm. We twist our hips to the opposite side. Here's our last one. Reach it, reach it, reach it. Really make sure you're going to the end range of motion. And then as we get ourselves back to that midline, we're going to keep that arm externally rotated this time. Because now we have to do 3 circles the opposite direction. So we're going to open up to that right side. And we're going to think about leading with that thumb this time. As that arm goes way up back behind us. Goes down through the middle. Again, our thumb is leading this circle. We've rotated that arm inward. It's dropping itself on down. We're really outstretching through that shoulder while standing up nice and tall. Then we cross that midline, we twist with it, we externally rotate, stand up nice and tall, and lift that arm back behind us. Cross it on through, twist to your left, drop through that right thumb. Here we go for one more. Rotating that arm, lift through that thumb, get that elbow straight.
Oh, I rushed.
You're just moving at your own pace. That's okay.
I'm trying to be a listener.
Ooh, and we can switch arms.
Good
We
job.
can shake that out. Ooh, very nice. All right, going back. We've switched arms. We've switched sides. So again, we're going to think about internally rotating to start as much as we possibly can. We really want that pinky to lead this time. That right hip goes back behind us as we twist to our right side, and that left arm outstretches in front of us. We really think about getting that arm out, out, out. It goes up nice and tall. We travel with it as it goes back behind us. Again, that pinky is leading this time. Travels backward. We drop it on down. We'll rotate that arm with it as it crosses that midline. We lead with that pinky. Goes really far back behind us. We're keeping those elbows super straight, right, everybody at home? Right, right, right. We cross that midline. Once again, rotating through that arm, lifting with that pinky. Elbows are super straight. As we get back to midline, we're going to go ahead and pause there. And then once again, we're going to supinate through that arm. We externally rotate it as we twist to that left arm. We reach that left arm as far back behind us as we can possibly get it. Lift through that thumb. And then drop it down, outstretch it in front of us, standing up nice and tall, reaching all the way out through that shoulder. We externally rotate as we cross that midline. We twist with it. Maybe somebody was trying to talk or they accidentally used the push to talk button.
Maybe. Sounded like
We got one more.
Daft Punk electrical interference.
Super slow. Here we go. Last one. Finishing up. Ooh. You can go ahead and drop that weight on
Nicely.
down and you can shake it out. If you have access to a resistance band at home, we're going to be using those next. If you do not have access to a resistance band, you could use a towel. A towel could totally work.
A belt.
A belt.
Scarf. A jump rope. A kitchen towel, two tied together. So something that's like this long, probably, maybe a little bit longer. So we're looking at, it doesn't have to be able to stretch. That's totally fine. So if it doesn't stretch, longer is better. Honestly, you could even use your broom, kitchen broom.
Which one do you like? I forget.
I like orange, to be honest.
You like
I'll take
the
an
orange?
orange and a purple.
You want the orange and a purple?
Yeah, I'm mobile. I don't like the hair off my shoulders.
She's got all the options in the world.
I got options.
She's so colorful.
If you have a resistance band, sweet action, and if not, anything that is okay to pull on and that is longer. So again, kitchen towels tied together, better yet, like a sheet or pillowcases or a scarf. Y'all be creative.
The wonderful stuff about elastic bands are just that. They are elastic, they stretch with it, they allow you to have a little bit more room for error as you grab onto your arms. What we're gonna think about, we're gonna do some revolutions with our shoulders. What I want you to think about, we've got this object, whatever we're happening to be grabbing out in front of us, I want you to start grabbing wider than you might think. And you're gonna really think about pushing out with your elbows. You're gonna get those arms nice and straight. You also wanna think about pushing out through your shoulders. Now you can stand up nice and tall as those shoulders outstretch. They're separating away from each other as you do this. You're really thinking about if there was a point at the middle of this object that you happen to be grabbing, it would be dead center with this O on the rock piqué on my shirt, that sternum that's right here. It's straight out in front of you. And we're just gonna play around with the range of motion that we're going to go with the front and back. When we're here, we're thinking about outstretching that arm. We're going up nice and tall, and then keeping yourself nice and sturdy and stable through that core. We're gonna let those arms travel behind us slowly. And if you got there and you're like, oh,
I'm stuck.
it doesn't go any far, grab wider. We grab wider, we wanna start off wider than you might think. And if you're going back and you're like, whatever, this isn't so much, but then you can go back to the front. You can choke up a little bit on whatever object you've got, and you can, once again, open up those shoulders. We want that band to stop in the same level that it was out in front of us. It should be mid-line between those shoulder blades. That's what we're looking for here. We want it mid-line of those shoulder blades back behind us. And this might already be a little bit of a stretch. You might be like, oh man, it's so open. And if that's too much of a stretch, we go back on forward, grab a little bit wider. That's perfectly fine. We're gonna be doing some movement and motion as we travel through this position. But what I want you to think about next, we're gonna go backward. Actually, you know what? Go ahead and shake those arms out. We just did a lot of activation through our shoulders. There's gonna be a little bit more. We're not done yet. You're not going away. You're stuck here. You totally can't just X out of this browser that you have right now. We're gonna go back. And again, we're thinking about that point being right in line with that sternum, but this time, I want you to take your right arm and you're gonna drop it a little bit. And as you do that, you're thinking of that point going and staying level and parallel with that spot that it was before as it travels to the side of us. As it travels to the side of us, you're gonna think about anchoring down with that right arm as your left arm goes up and then travels backward into that reverse position. Now that we're here, we're gonna go the opposite direction. We're gonna anchor with that left arm. We're gonna drop that left arm as our right arm goes up nice and high. And again, it's traveling to my left side this time, and it goes back in front of us and ends up, and that was one revolution, one direction. Let's go again. And that right arm is anchoring down, that left arm's traveling around, it goes over our head and travels back behind us. Left arm travels down as that right arm goes up. Very nice. We get ourselves going back and forward, very good. Then here we go, one more time, one more revolution. Right arm anchors down, left arm travels up. It goes back behind us. We find that backward shape. Right arm goes up.
Oh no.
No, my earbud. It wasn't working anyway.
Okay.
It's not connected to anything.
Is that fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm going dark, people.
It's going dark.
I'm going dark. And we end up back out in front of us. Very nice. And we're gonna switch direction. And so again, we're gonna take that left arm this time. As our right arm travels, crosses that midline, left arm anchors down, right arm goes up, and then back, goes back behind us. Again, we're looking to be in line with those shoulders. Right arm anchors down, left arm travels up, out to that right side, and then back in front of us. That was one. We're doing two more revolutions. Here we go. Wonderful, and we got one more revolution to get through. Left arm anchors down, right arm goes up. Really think about moving through those shoulders, opening those shoulders. Get ourselves back in front of us. We're pushing out through those shoulders and drop those arms. Woo. And you can shake it on out. Oh, yeah, very good. Moving, grooving, doing good stuff.
Yep.
But we're not done.
Oh boy.
Because we're going back again. And this time, I want you to maybe consider choking up just a smidge. Not a ton. A little bit goes a long way when we're here. I'm gonna choke up about an inch. And we're gonna just explore and see whether or not this was good for me to do. I've got that arm out, stretched in front of us. I'm opening it up. I'm exploring that stretch position backward behind me. And this is feeling pretty good. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a little bit more of a stretch than was before. Cool. Oh, fantastic. Very nice. And it travels. And then once it gets out in front of me, I'm going to really think about pushing out through the shoulders. And here we go. Revolutions to our right. Yep. Super good stretch. Oh, man. That was one. Here we go for two. Very good. And one more. Very nice. We stop back in front of us, and then here we go to the left. Keep breathing while you do this. That's nice. As we move around. Whoa.
Bad time. My bad.
Very good, and we got one more to get through.
Hearing you breathe, remember to breathe.
Oh, very nice. And we can drop that band on
Do you still have
down.
burn on your shoulder? Because I do.
And we can shake it around.
Yeah.
We've got more things coming up. We've got, we're gonna be rolling out a little bit. We've got some lacrosse balls that we're gonna grab. This could be any, if you have a lacrosse ball at home, now's the opportunity to grab one. If you've got an actual like myofascial roller, go for that. If you've got, I don't know, maybe a basketball might be too large, but if you've got any large round object, you don't want it to be super hard. A golf ball might be a little bit too aggressive for what we're going for right now, especially because we're going to be moving and finding a vertical surface that we don't mind putting a little bit of pressure on. I don't know what that happens to be for you. It could be a door jamb, it could be a frame, or something that you don't mind placing and putting pressure against. For us, we've got these wonderful wooden vertical walls out over this way. As we do this though, we are going to, how can I mute this mic? Oh, I know how I can do this. I'm gonna be muting the mic for a moment so it doesn't go crazy on all of y'all. And we're gonna be moving this a little bit. So we're gonna do some in-stream little technical stuff. Oops. Now it's active.
Woohoo! Okay, so you can still see us, and I can hear us better.
Yep. I've got a lacrosse ball, this one right here. And what we're gonna start with, we're gonna find a vertical wall. It doesn't matter what vertical wall it is. We're gonna find that vertical wall, and we're going to place that ball directly on the outside of that deltoid. Actually, wait, Nicole, can you do that? I'm gonna do
Go over
this.
there, I was gonna do that. Yep. Somebody said, I didn't know you could juggle, but it sounded like that's kind of electrical. I heard it. And I used to do that in college, in fact. Well, I forgot. I was trying to go up there to talk to the mic. Mic's right here. Hi. Hopefully you heard that. Yes, I can juggle. I'm not good anymore, I don't think, because it's been a long time since I've practiced. I juggle my body through space now.
So that ball is going again, it's going on that deltoid, and we just lightly think about rolling it around when we're here. We don't need to put a ton of pressure on this.
I'm gonna show people what a deltoid is.
A little bit goes a long way.
Okay. Up, down. Oh. Now here's where we all feel like strange zombies in our own homes, doing strange movements against a wall.
At least you can't be embarrassed in the confines of your own home.
I hope, yeah, true.
Go ahead and rotate away from the wall just a little bit. And what happens is this ball travels backward into what I would call the seam of a t-shirt. That's kind of where we are. We're on that rotator cuff area. And it's helpful to kind of anchor that arm if you were to hold on to that arm that you're rolling yourself out on. And again, we don't need a ton of pressure here. We're just lightly moving all of those muscles that we just spent some time activating. We're just trying to get them to feel a little bit better about what we just did, easing them up a little bit. Hey, we're sorry, it's all good.
Very long sleep.
Oh, I'm so comfortable right now.
I'm so getting cold
It
already.
feels great.
It's like 52 in the gym.
No, it feels awesome.
Feels not awesome. Charlie is crazy. But it's conservations. There you go.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to consider finishing that up. If it feels great, by all means, continue going for it. But we're going to go ahead and switch sides. Again, that ball is going on that deltoid, that muscle directly on the outside edge of that shoulder. We're just getting it lightly against that wall. If it's drywall, you might not want to push too hard. We don't want to make dents. We don't want to make artifacts on the wall that we'll have to remind ourselves constantly about this time, this crazy, weird time in our lives that we're all living through. What an experience. What a time for us to be alive. This is incredible. And then we might consider finishing that up and rotating again away from that wall. It travels backward onto that rotator cuff. I like to hold and pin that arm really close against my body just to make sure I'm not supporting it or using it. And we might consider finishing that up we're gonna take that ball, we're gonna transition, we're gonna move again, we're gonna go forward a little bit. I'm gonna deafen us once again so I don't make your sound and speakers at home go crazy. All right, and we're back. And what we're gonna switch to, actually, can we move this back just a little bit? We'll keep it as is on the screen right now. We'll just move this back a moment. That's pretty good. And what we're gonna transition, I know today we're talking about shoulders, but something that we're probably using a lot of right now, especially for those of you that are working from home, you're doing a lot more typing than you normally would. We're at a computer a lot more than we normally would. If you work in an office, a lot of your in-person meetings might be times where you get to kind of sit and not have to type out what you're saying or interacting or moving stuff around. We've just used and abusing our hands a lot more in this trying time. So we're gonna take this ball, whatever it is that you happen to be moving yourself around in, we wanna find a sturdy surface underneath us. We've got some squishy stuff underneath our knees just because the hard floor isn't very nice for us to kneel on. But you're gonna take that ball, it goes down in front of you. You're gonna take that hand and place it down on the ball. You wanna relax your fingers. They should be nice and light. And then you're gonna take your opposite palm and place it down on top. And let's just move all the muscles in that hand around a little bit. We don't need to travel down into the channel of that wrist. We don't need to be down in there. There's a lot of nerves that we don't need to move around. But the pad of your thumb, by all means, move that around. The pad of your palm, absolutely, move that around as well.
Don't have a ball, you can absolutely just use your own thumb and just self-massage. We're really feeling into that pad of your thumb. And just try and relax the hand that you're massaging.
And we might consider switching sides. Very nice. And we might consider finishing up. That ball is just gonna go off to the side. And now that we're here, we're gonna stay down in that kneeled position. If you've got tight wrists, you might start with your hands closer to the sides of you, and you might lean forward so we have an obtuse angle of that wrist to the forearm. Or if you're a little bit more flexy, if you want a little bit more intensive a stretch, we're gonna take those hands, we're gonna rotate them so our thumbs go out and our fingers go back behind us, our elbow pits are facing out in front of us. We're gonna drop those palms down. We might put a little bit of weight on them, and then we might lean back. We're just gonna spend some time stretching out all of our muscles around that forearm.
Forgot to do the sideway angle.
Oops.
Oops. Back on the sideways
You'll never
angle.
know what to do.
I just think it's helpful to see two angles sometimes.
It
to
totally
answer
is
questions.
helpful. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Woohoo.
And we might consider releasing from that stretch. We can even travel down to our fingers. If you think about outstretching those fingers a little bit, you might think about pressing down through your knuckles nice and light. And you might even roll from side to side this way. Really think about stretching all of those tendons that wrap underneath those fingers, just kind of letting them stretch and open a little bit. It might be playing around in way more of a curled shape, way more often as we spend more and more of our time at home, possibly in front of a computer screen.
Paul just said thank you. So he's still with us. I'm pretty
Thank
sure
you,
it's-
Paul.
I don't know why my earbuddy thing for Discord is really poor quality all of a sudden. Maybe the battery is dying, or maybe when his disconnected, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And
I
we're
can
gonna
still
loosen
hear,
up
it's just Weird.
Just move those fingers around. We're gonna be rotating our arms this time. So instead of opening up this way, we're gonna rotate inward. We're gonna drop those hands down. And again, if you've got not a lot of mobility on this, you might start with your hands down at your side. You wanna put some pressure down through those wrists. But no matter where you are, once you get here, we want to make sure that we are rotating those elbows from out to in. We want those elbow pits to face out in front of us.
What we say, don't be a bulldog. Boop. Big rotation through that elbow, hands stay. Technically the rotation.
I'm a puppet.
He's a puppet.
I'm a puppet.
This is so important if you type all the time.
This is a good shape, a good thing to do just periodically throughout the day. And go ahead and loosen up from that position, and we can just move those wrists around. And shake it out. And this time, those feet are gonna go out in front of us. Those hands are gonna go behind us. And ideally, if those pinky fingers can touch behind you with your palms flat, wonderful. Go for it, do it. If that's not possible yet, that's okay. The most important thing that we want though, we want to make sure that if our arms are outstretched back behind us, maybe they're a couple feet away from each other. That's okay. I want you to really think about curling and crunching those shoulder blades back behind you as much as you can, as you really think about stretching, and maybe you even scoot that butt forward a little bit. Again, if those pinky fingers can touch, wonderful. Go for it, do it. But make sure that you're not sacrificing the position of those shoulder blades crunching together in order to get those pinky fingers to touch. We want those palms to be flat. We want those elbows straight. Then
Chest lifted.
chest nice and lifted. Yes, absolutely. You might even consider dropping your knees to one side to get more of a stretch.
Got really soft-spoken, relaxy voice, so if we're too quiet, shout out.
I just feel like I'm talking directly at the microphone this time.
True.
And I feel like my booming voice is gonna...
The mic doesn't like
carry
my
it.
voice as much as it likes his. It's true.
You're just too fair, soft-spoken. And
I
we
don't know.
switch sides.
I wouldn't say soft-spoken, higher-pitched.
Higher pitch. Fantastic. And we consider pulling ourselves out from that position, and we're gonna shake those arms out a little bit. If you have access to a foam roller at home, that would be wonderful. We're gonna grab some foam rollers. If you do not, you're gonna find anything that you can use. That might be a little too much. I don't
They
know,
can
but
self-massage.
that's not where we're going with that. Yeah.
Ignore me. I don't know what's happening.
You're gonna want something soft that you can put on your back, that you can elevate yourself up off the floor
Towels.
a little bit.
Towels.
Towels
Get
work
multiple
pretty
towels
well.
that you can roll together to create a tube. And if the tube compresses, that's fine.
Yes, because what we're gonna do here, we're gonna take this, we're gonna help it to elevate our thoracic spine off of the floor. And what we're gonna do here, I've got this roller, I'm gonna think about dropping down almost until my shoulder blades are directly on top of the roller. And once I'm here, I'm gonna outstretch my arms up above me, and I'm gonna let them open up back behind me. And I'm just gonna focus on keeping those shoulders in close towards my ears. I don't want them to travel out to the side too much. They're in. I'm thinking about reaching my arms up nice and far. And I might even consider dropping a little bit more. I might even relax my head. And I might just spend some time breathing here, allowing those shoulders to open up over my head. Feel free to move around in this position. Just kind of think about opening through the different ranges of motion of your spine. We spend so long right now kind of hunched over looking at a computer screen. And now is a wonderful time to really think about doing the opposite as we open ourselves up. Oh, hi.
Hi. He's touching me.
We're not allowed to do that. Physical distancing. Physical distancing. Oh, yep. Oh, yep. And we pull ourselves up. Ooh.
Feels very good.
I feel pretty good.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
feels good.
You want to do anything else?
The turny one.
The turny one?
This one.
Oh.
Different opener.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take that roller, and this time it's going to go in line with our spine and our body. And again, if you've got a towel that you're doing, you just kind of want to roll it up. You want that to be right down the center of you. So we've got these rollers. So I'm going to be thinking about sitting myself out in front of it. I'm going to lay myself back on top of it. I want my head to be supported a little bit so it's not just kind of like cranking back a little bit. I want you to really think about opening your arms out in front and then just letting them travel back and then go out to the sides. I don't know about you, but I get a crazy stretch when I just let them relax out through here. We're just going to think about nice, good, slow, deep breaths when we're here. Very good. Feel free to stay here for as long as you are able to. Feel free to go back to any of those motions, any of those stretches, any of those activations. Although I feel like most people don't willfully go through activations on their own. They kind of rely on us to do it for them. But that's okay.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here
Why we're
for.
doing the mobility class.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining us for a little bit of movement. For those of you that were here and followed through for the movement add-on, you all are amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We're in a very weird time in our lives, and so going through these transitions, we're experimenting with new strategies. We're trying out new things. If you have interesting ideas or things that you would want to do or that you would want to participate in on stream, feel free to hit us up on the Discord. The Discord link is down in the description below.
Or email us.
Or email us, absolutely. We would love to try to implement your ideas. We would love for you to be a participant in our streams as well. So if you're interested in getting involved, again, hit us up through Discord or the email, and we'll communicate as best as we can as we go through and go forward.
Yeah.
So
we're going to be advertising this through our newsletter, but from here on out, we are pretty committed to live streaming Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays with different sort of items, and we will start creating schedules so that you know ahead of time and know how to prepare. Assuming that all this audio was amazing, because we got to check in on that first.
I do see some comments going through, so I'm going to just double check those.
Cool. Charlie's going to read comments.
Oh, they're just saying audio is a bit quieter now, just FYI. But
Yeah, it's because we got calm and it's a little bit farther away. But again, we are learning and making adjustments. So as this quality continues to be excellent, then we are going to be bolstering all that news through the community and advertising, not only scheduling, but other things as well. So coming at you real soon, we're working on a video edit for movement mechanics series. We're going to have more strength workouts coming at you in the future, but we're fairly committed to live streaming Tuesday evenings around 6, and then Thursday evenings around 6, and Sundays same time 2 to 4, simulating what would be strength class and mobility class. Yeah. So we really hope to see you then, and let us know if you need anything from us. And we really loved that you joined us today. And move your body, keep stretching, keep being awesome, love the world, love each other. We miss you, we love you, we'll see you next time.